We're going to start off this video by looking at QBTS here on the weekly chart, up around 7% on the day from Thursday's close. This is coming off of earnings here last week. Going forward, what are we looking at in here? Well, you can see we're right up against this 50-day SMA in here that's currently trading right at 23. So we're about a couple dollars off of that. That's going to be our first harsh resistance for us in here, kind of long term. We're going to see what kind of moves we get as we continue throughout the month of August. And obviously, all that has to do with the correlation with the overall markets, geopolitical things, as well as other earnings reports coming out at the end of the month here. But overall, that is going to be our long-term ceiling in here that we are going to be looking at for our first stop of resistance. Anything outside of that, we're going to be focusing on that 24.69 level. Then we're looking up here right around that $30 level up here, which is going to be where our upper trend line is of this overall structure. To the downside, what are we looking at? Well, really, we have this line right here that's going to be trading at that 1977. So you can chalk that up to about that $20 range in here. Obviously, we're going to overshoot that by a couple cents or so. So really 1977 is where your line kind of is in the sand, but the $20 range is going to be a spot that needs to hold first before we can continue higher or lower in here. Anything outside of that 1977, then we are going to be looking down here to that 1571 area. Now, as far as our RSI in here, nothing to worry about. We are basically neutral in here. Our volume was a little bit below average as compared to a couple weeks ago. And that's coming off of a doji in here. And that's also with our earnings report in play this past week as well. So that's something to keep an eye on. We're going to need some more volume in here to kind of push us higher, but we're going to see how things kind of shake up coming up in here this coming week. This could be a setup in here these 2 weeks for a larger move, either to the upside or to the downside in here. We're also going to take a look at Rigetti Computing in here. This is a stock that's trading up around 9% on the day. From Thursday's close. You can see we've been in a downtrend ever since May in here, right? So this string of just red weeks in here, finally flattening out, a couple indecision candles in here, and then you got that nice pop over here this last week. We're going forward looking at that big $18 range in here, but obviously anything outside of that, we're looking at that $20 level. That is going to be key for us in here. Outside of there, we're looking at this 50-day SMA or this upper trend line of this overall structure. They're both trading right at that mid 22 mark in here. So about 22.50 is going to be our kind of our resistance in here of this overall structure. Outside of there, nice whole numbers. We're just watching 30, 35, etc. To the downside in here, obviously it's going to be this lower trend line of this overall structure. It's a place that we kind of just set up shop in here for the past 2 weeks. That area is currently trading right around that 1450 range in here. Anything to the downside in here, we are going to be watching that 1213 area, and then we're looking all the way down here at that 11. You do have this lingering 200-day moving average in here. It's just kind of, I mean, look at this. It's kind of just straight across, right? So not a whole lot going on in here. That is going to be an area that we have to keep an eye on as well. That's basically trading at that $8 mark. RSI in here, again, neutral, nothing to worry about. A little bit of a pop in our volume as compared to the month of June in here. So a little bit of a run up in here, not that much though, but we are going to need some volume to get kind of push us here forward so we can kind of climb and then stay above that $18 range. And then we can start focusing on those that 50-day SMA sitting at 22.5. And then obviously outside of there, there's nice whole numbers, 25, 30, 35, etc. So that's what we're looking at in here in QBTS and in RGTI. Let's see what happens as we continue on throughout the month of August. Again, these stocks are going to be correlated with the overall markets, and then we have to watch geopolitically how they are going to be correlated, as well as what is going to happen as far as sympathy plays in these stocks as compared to the earnings reports that we're getting throughout the rest of the month. So let's see what happens in here as we continue throughout this month. All right, guys, if you like this video, make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We also have a Discord service if you are interested, and you can find all of our socials in the description below.